Welcome to my first audio blog. In March of 2013, I finally gave in and converted to Twitter. It was my second conversion to the world of social media, the other being LinkedIn. I used both mediums for strictly professional purposes to increase awareness and advocate for school health issues. Thus, I'm thankful to Care and Guidance for my next opportunity to increase advocacy through blogging. The written version of this can be found at Care and Guidance. This is my first attempt at sharing relevant experiences in written form or this audio version. So let me start my first official blog with a parable. A farmer gives one set of farmhands a growing pot, soil, water, and seeds. The farmer gives a second group of farmhands a growing pot, soil, water, seeds, and a box of Miracle-Gro. Given the same conditions in growing, the same variables in growing conditions, no one would argue that the second set of farmhands has an unfair advantage in what their seeds are capable of producing. Let me reword my parable to the modern-day classroom. A principal gives one set of teachers a classroom, curriculum, quality instructional practices, summative assessments. The principal gives a second set of teachers a classroom, curriculum, quality instructional practices, summative assessments, along with physical activity resources. The majority of the time in the education world, I often hear excuses such as, "We don't have time. There are too many other things to do." With competing academic pressures, physical activity is minimized or even completely excluded in schools today. However, Dr. John Rady, in his book, Spark, The Revolutionary New Science of Exercise in the Brain, describes the physiological change of neurons during exercise as essentially Miracle-Gro for the brain. So why is it when you introduce Miracle-Gro in the garden, it's an unfair advantage? When we talk about Miracle-Gro for the brain, we do not hear the same argument. Unfortunately, in this scenario, there are too few educators that recognize physical activity as an unfair advantage for learning and achievement. This leads me to the importance of how we advocate. One of my personal peeves is the terminology brain break or physical activity break. In my profession of physical education and kinesiology, I understand the intent. However, the gatekeeper for most school policies, programs, and thus classroom practices is the principal. The principal has an enormous and always growing list of priorities and accountability measures, so anything labeled as a break has an uphill challenge for inclusion. Thus, the need to call physical activity what it actually is, an intervention. School professional development and professional learning is immersed with differentiating instruction for all students through the framework of response to intervention, RTI. The reality for many schools today is that they're not only not including brain breaks as RTI, but oftentimes will remove students from physical education and recess for other so-called interventions. This is a double-edged sword and is a major reality. Students are not receiving the needed wellness benefits of physical activity, nor are they receiving the much-needed Miracle-Gro effect for academic achievement. The education system is about preparing students for a global economy through what we currently call college and career readiness. I submit to you that any system that ignores the benefits of physical activity is inadequate and will not succeed in producing true college and career readiness. Today's workforce often puts higher value on this than schools currently do. Many major corporations incentivize their employees for physical activity because they understand the simple investment. It enhances production. It does not take away from it. They value the intervention. My hope is that education does not allow this intervention message to be choked out, but hears the message and understands it. Then we can produce students yielding 100-fold our current efforts.